we're going to talk about AI and job searching and how you can use it, leverage it, all of those things.
When your CV gets shortlisted, essentially you will be interviewed either by a human or an AI. The AI will not only assess you through the video interaction, but also through your social profile.
If you're the person, if you're the human, how do you get through the AI?
When we are going through the ATS, we need to focus on a lot of keywords that are there in the job descriptions.
You don't have to read the job description. You can get your AI tool to read the job description. Use all the tools available. Anika, I know you've got some wonderful AI stories. Why don't you kick off with some of your stories? We'd love to hear them. And then we're going to talk about AI and job searching and how you can use it, leverage it, all of those things. We go on, kick us off.
Absolutely, Lewis. Thanks for that. Well, AI, as we know, it's no more science fiction. We're not watching a science fiction movie. And we are living in the times where actually AI is an essential part. So is it a part of recruitment as well. I was just reading about this case with Unilever. So, Unilever has this program called Future Leaders Program, where they hire 800 people and they got like 250K applications. So it's humanly impossible for them to screen each application and hire a person in time. So they used two tools. They used one for, of course, screening of those resumes, and the other tool for AI they used for video interviews, because screening and then eventually scheduling these interactions, screening on the basis of first round of interviews, it's very difficult for the team to take on. Eventually, they would, use these tools, and in record time, they were able to shortlist 350 candidates out of 250K people.
Wow. Amazing.
So,
That's amazing.
yeah,
What's crazy, and maybe we should explore this in different podcasts, is how fair the AI is.
absolutely.
Because you've got this whole conversation around bias in recruiting, and you have humans that are making these language models, algorithms. So I think we should explore that, but very, very interesting. And then also, if you're the person, if you're the human, how do you get through the AI? Or, as we're about to explore, how do you get your AI to get this other AI to select you to go meet a human? I think that's
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right, Lewis. So, as we say, when in Rome, act Roman. So, if this AI understands that AI, then it'll be easier. And how to understand this AI? One term we always hear in recruitment is called ATS. So, every application these days has to go through an application tracking system, which is the ATS, which essentially is governed by a lot of factors. Primarily, as in business, we have SEO, search engine optimization. We need to use some keywords. Similarly, in AI, also, when we are going through the ATS, we need to focus on a lot of keywords that are there in the job descriptions. So essentially, when we are at the other end of the table, when we are applying for a job, it's essential for us to pay attention to those keywords that are there in the job descriptions. I know it's information overload to read a job description. It's sometimes really tedious. But if you go the extra mile and read about those terms that are essentially present there, these terms would be quite instrumental in getting your application selected for a job.
yeah. I'm going to give you and also the other thing is the wonderful thing is now, if you don't have to read the job description, you can get your AI tool to read the job description. So I think for that, it's interesting. It's quite daunting as well. Like if you're applying for jobs and you look at Unilever and you're like, oh my God, a quarter of a million people have applied for this job. I mean, it's almost like I've got no chance. Why even bother? I mean, even like if you look at a job ad and there's like 300 people, I mean, as a human, to get 300 job applications, it's very, very difficult to go through them. Like really difficult. It's a nightmare. So it's interesting. It's like, before this AI stuff, we'd had humans going through, and it was almost the same conversation. It's like, what keywords should I put on my CV or my resume? how's the HR manager or the hiring manager going to notice me amongst all these applications? So maybe actually it's kind of the same conversation now. And so what I would do is, if they are using AI to screen, and you don't know, so you can't control that, but all you can control is how you go about applying for your jobs. So to your point with the keywords and the things like that, I would use, so maybe we'll do a review actually of the different AIs, but you've got like ChatGPT, you've got Gemini, Elon Musk's Grok is quickly catching up. There's a few others. I really like Perplexity, not that it's an AI, but it's an AI search engine, which I love, which we can talk about later. But anyway, whatever you're using, put the job description in, and you can say, hey, I'm applying for this job. Here's the job description. Tailor my CV specifically for this job. And the AI will pull all the keywords. It will optimize your CV, your resume, and then you'll be in quite a good spot. So that's what I would do for that. You can do the same with the cover letter. They ask for a cover letter. And so it gives you, like, you know, I think for me, it's like use all the tools available, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Completely agree with you, Lewis. So, like, it's part of each process of recruitment, like when we are sourcing or when we are applying to a job in this case. Then, of course, AI will be there in terms of shortlisting your CV for the interview. Now we go to the next round, which is when your CV gets shortlisted, what will happen? So essentially, you will be interviewed either by a human or an AI, because these days organizations are also taking into consideration to have first round of interviews through AI. So in that situation, the AI will not only assess you through the video interaction, but also through your social profile. So here we come to the LinkedIn profile again. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
go on, carry on.
Yeah. So in this perspective, then again, we have to focus on those keywords that we were essentially focusing on when we were applying to this job, to be these keywords to be present somewhere on your profile so that it reflects about your experience and your match to the job that you're applying to.
Definitely. The AI profile, the LinkedIn profile is interesting because also, if you want to be found, so let's say, well, I mean, we headhunt, so you know we try and find people. So if you want to be found, your LinkedIn profile obviously is not the only way, but a major way to be found by headhunters and stuff like that. And LinkedIn, which are owned by Microsoft, which are a big investor in ChatGPT, have all this AI baked in, and and they have these AI optimization, enhancement, whatever they call them, tools. So it can like enhance your LinkedIn profile. It can also write you a resume based on a LinkedIn profile. So like, you know, like explore all of those tools. So hopefully LinkedIn, if your LinkedIn profile is up to date, you'll be found more by recruiters. So for those jobs that aren't advertised, so for like typically like senior leadership roles, often they're not really advertised. Some firms will advertise them and recruit themselves, but if it's with a headhunter, you need to be found. And then to your point, Anika, if the AI is assessing your social media or your social footprint, you got to be on
Yeah.
point, really. I'm going to say there's almost no excuse. I mean, some jobs, like, you know, you're not going to be on LinkedIn, or you're a bit more secretive or protective about your data. And I didn't, there's certain things that, but generally, I'm going to say that you really need to be on there. I was speaking to a hiring manager the other day, and they were like, and their question to me was, isn't it weird that this person doesn't have very much stuff on their LinkedIn profile and their, you know, so you can argue it both ways, right? But I think we are in an age where you've got to have some presence online, and for work and for business, LinkedIn currently is the thing. And let's be honest, it's free. It costs you nothing to have a LinkedIn profile. It costs you nothing to update it, and you could be found by an amazing internal talent acquisition person at the company of your dreams, a headhunter with the job of your dreams. I mean, for nothing. It's great. So why would you not?
Interesting.
What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I completely agree with you. In addition to this, I think another field where I think we can use AI in terms of our job search is to prepare for those interview questions. These days, apps like, I mean, extensions like Huru, or maybe the Big Interview, or interview.ai, a couple of these tools, they would help you with the interview. So they'll just pull out the information from LinkedIn for a job posting and what could be probable questions in the interview for you, so that you can
Great.
prep in advance what's going to be there in the conversation. And then, of course, there are video interviews, mock interviews available on these AI tools as well. So you are going one step ahead in terms of your interview preparation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also, like, why would you not? I think for me, it's like use every tool available, because if you're not, that person is, and that person, So there was this. I can't remember the doctor's name. It was like someone doing a talk at the World Economic Forum, and they said something like, "AI won't take your job, but someone using AI will take your job." So for me, I'm just a big advocate for like trying new stuff, new technology, put yourself in the best position. Because currently, like a human's still making the decision ultimately. And if you're applying for jobs where you've got AI sifting and deciding whether you're going to meet a human, then actually maybe you've even got an AI doing your video interview, assessing your personality traits and looking at your eye movement and the color of your skin to see like if you're flustered or not. I mean, like it's some crazy stuff. Then you got to go through it. And then even later on in your career, if it's by being found by headhunters and whoever, you've got to just use everything. So absolutely, I think there's some great platforms that you mentioned that can help prepare for the job interview when you meet a human. You can also use ChatGPT. I had a good friend of mine who will remain nameless, but happened to find out, and I love this story, happened to find out that they were one of two candidates to the final stage. And they found out because they'd gone the final stage. I think it was a 10-stage interview process. So they'd gone through human. This person had put in the job description and the LinkedIn profile of each person they met at each stage and said, "I'm interviewing for this job with this person. Give me ideas for questions." It gave 10 questions, and 8 out of 10 on average came up through each stage of the interview. It was amazing. They then got through the final stage, and the person who was coordinating the interview said, "Right, I've got 2 slots, 2 final candidates," and this person got asked like first which slot, so they went for the second slot, and it was face to face. So they went and they signed in on the book. It's a bit old school now, but some of these buildings you have to go in and you have to sign. So he got in there and he was signing his name, and he noticed that the person just above had the signed in just before the first interview slot, meeting the person that he was meeting. So he's like, "Oh, this might be my competitor." So signed in. He went back down, wait, and he got his iPad out and he jumped onto ChatGPT and he said, "I'm interviewing for this job. Here's my LinkedIn profile, and this person is also interviewing for the same job. Here's their LinkedIn profile. Here's the job description. Pull out the key differences between us and give me some advice on what I can focus on in the interview." Now, I don't know whether it was because of that they got the job, but they got the job. And I just thought it was a wonderful story because it just, again, like you just using tools available. I think it was incredible. So anyway, interesting story. But more and more people, let me tell you, if you're hesitating on using AI to help you prepare for job interviews, or you're like kind of not quite dived in yet, right? Because a lot of people I speak with are using it, but I probably the majority aren't yet, I think, for this stuff. So if you're not, take the handbrake off and just like dive in. Many of these things are free. You can upgrade to the paid versions. Most of them are like $20 a month, like no commitment monthly. I mean, like it's not super expensive. And if you're doing it for to get a job, it's a small investment and perhaps getting a really good job. So Go for that.
Absolutely. Quite agree with what you said, Lewis. AI is not going to replace the human interaction. Of course, nonetheless, when we are in the process of job search, we have to network efficiently. We have to connect with hiring leaders. We have to connect with people in our network. We have to keep commenting on posts, be part of their LinkedIn activity, be present there. But AI essentially just helps us to make the process quicker and more efficient, because everywhere else AI is being used. Even like we see in leadership roles, essentially people sometimes don't focus on the CVs. They prefer to have executive summaries, which are like one pager documents about your achievements. So it's very difficult for a person to sit down and encapsulate everything in that one pager document. But AI essentially will capture all the information according to the keywords that you're looking for and make it into a document, which will definitely be a decider for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also when it comes to preparing for your job interview, so whether it's looking researching the industry, the company, competitors, maybe threats, challenges, all of those kind of things. I mean, there's mostly people have been using Google, right? You stick into Google, great. There's Perplexity, which I've been using recently, which is like an AI powered search, which is written like a science paper. So, like I think the big thing right now is that there's a lot of information out there, and it's very difficult to decipher what's true and what's not. Perplexity is interesting because everything that they return back is cited, so you can check the references and the sources and things like that. I really like that. So anyway, there's so many tools now to help you prepare. So there is no excuse for going into a job interview unprepared. Whether it's you research the company, the person, all of their social stuff, even questions to ask. I'm a big advocate for for me, you can tell much more about someone by the questions that they ask, right? Now, I mean, you can just get them from AI, from ChatGPT or AI tool. It can even just gives you ideas to think about what questions to ask, So, yeah, I'd go in. It also says so much about you, doesn't it? Just
You're
using
right.
these things and.
True. Like I was reading somewhere that even IBM, for their campus recruitment program, they have built a chatbot called Connie. Connie is essentially helping uh, campus hires, I mean, people when they're applying for these jobs, with the candidate experience management. So they're part of the whole application process. They're answering questions about the job profile. So essentially, it is not only reducing turnaround time for hiring a person, but also is improving on the candidate experience, which sometimes it's very difficult to have like 250K applications and to send out those. Of course, you have to use an ATS in that situation. But
Definitely.
if we have AI tools, essentially, which are communicating directly with the candidate, it has a different experience altogether.
Very true. No, very true. Very true. Um, I was reading about that recently. I mean, and we should probably get one of these at some point. But the AI chats are wonderful because they're very good at like Q&A, commonly asked questions.
Yeah.
They get more and more intelligent. They can train and on all of your data internally, if all of those things, and it can be a real part of your team. An AI recruiting assistant, and it's interesting. And I think we should do a podcast on the recruiter of the future and what that might look like. But no, they're integrated into many websites now. Whether you're buying insurance. I mean, I'm just speaking to a chatbot the other day, and it's integrated into everything now. So it's here. People are using it. I think it's great. There's many ways that people who are looking for jobs and are also hiring can use it as well to make everything more efficient and stuff. So it's a good spot. Awesome. Good one. Anything else you want to add, Anika? Is there anything that we've not discussed?
Definitely, I think AI is here to stay. So it's going to be uh, an essential part of every field that we're in, whether it's job hunting, or it's the other way around if you're hiring for a professional. And I think it's great that we have so many tools around to help us with each step of our job search.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful place to end. If anyone wants to find out a little bit more about that, you can DM us on LinkedIn, and it is a human answering. We haven't quite integrated our AI chatbot yet, but maybe we will very soon. But yeah, no, great chat. Thanks so much. If anyone here wants to listen to more good content, then follow us on YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn, all of that good stuff. And see you all soon.